that we all are same as human beings. I would like to give you a few numbers to make a point. As of today, you see in New York City, 135,000 cases and 10,000 deaths. Whereas in New York State, 243 cases and 13,000 deaths. Out of 13,000, 10,000 in New York City, which doesn't make much sense. This is one of the mystery why New York City is dying mostly. Again, if we look United States and whole world, in United States, 764 total cases and 40,000 deaths. Whereas all over the world, 2.4 million infected and death is 165,000. Why is this? Why New York City is dying most among America, and why America is the most death when we compare with other countries in the world? We don't know. This is one of the mystery. And also we don't know why some people is getting infected, some are not. And what are the things causing the spread of this disease or the infection? We don't know really for sure. So these are the mysteries, and we are suffering because we don't know a lot of things. Whenever is unknown, it's more scary. Even with the doctors, we are scared. We don't know what to do. This is the reality, and this is the problem. So if we go back a little bit in the history, if we go about 100 years plus, see, in 1918, the Spanish flu that killed 50 million people in Europe and 2 million in America. That's the first time we came to know what a viral infection causes problem in the world. And after that, we experience a small pandemics we can call, or large scale endemic is better to say, is that 2002 and 2003, the SARS infection, I think most of you know, in 2002, in 2003. And also 2012 and 2013 was the MERS infection, which originated in Saudi Arabia and most likely came from camel. So these two past experience we have. This coronavirus is the same coronavirus, is the cousin of MERS and SARS. And what is interesting is that the mortality rate is very low compared to SARS, which is 30%, and MERS 40%. This one was told 2.4% overall the world. But we are seeing in New York City 5% death rate. That's another mystery we don't know. In whole United States, 1.4%. In New York City, 5%. In world, 2.4%. Why? We don't know. So what we have in New York City that most people are dying, we don't know. So how this virus came? You know, this coronavirus, normal host is bat. And this coronavirus also was in the bat. And from there, it came directly to the human, or it came through another animal, like we suspecting pangolin is one type of animal in China. That's probably the intermediate host. How we know this? DNA sequencing. By DNA sequencing, we know that coronavirus normal host is bat. So many different type of coronavirus bat gets infected. Only 1 and 2 escape to another animal. This probably came to pangolin, and from there we got human. Why we are so confirmed about that? Because of the DNA sequence, which is telling the food steps, or we call that how the virus worked. We can understand that by DNA sequence. So that's more or less settled, that that's how this virus came. What we don't know why this virus is so infectious and what are the mode for transmission. We say wash your hand, you put your mask, keep the 6 foot distance. But I know people, they did all these things for 2 months, but they still got the infection. We don't know. I have a small practice in Jacksonite. I've seen so many of my patients die, and some of them had no risk factor. They're sitting at home. And, and even it's nothing to do with the age, whether we are more than 70 years old or 16 years old. What is true though, is that less than 16 is unlikely to get infected or unlikely to die. But I have seen many patients, 20, 22, 23-year-old to die at Elmhurst Hospital. Now, what is the symptoms? Symptoms is, again, another mystery. Some people may have nothing, which is the vast majority, about 80%. And rest will have symptoms from almost nothing to very extreme, like sore throat, cough, most people get, body ache and headache. Some people get diarrhea, and some people get fever, and some people get short of breath. Some people get even heart attack. So what we do see, though, most patients develop fever when they started to get worse. So we consider fever one of the bad signs or grave concern. And the lot of people are very concerned and anxious about heart attack. I just want to clarify, this heart attack is not the usual heart attack, that block of coronary artery causing less blood supply to the heart and causing heart attack. It's most likely because of myocarditis. That means inflammation of the heart causing sudden stop of heart. But the good news is that this is extremely rare, extremely rare. So one in a 10,000 maybe, I don't know exact number, I'm making it up, but it's extremely rare. So I don't think that we have so many things to be concerned at this moment. We don't need to think about this virus causing cardiac arrest and you can die. That's possible, but we don't. The most common symptom is the cough, fever, diarrhea, and most people gets better. Say 80% asymptomatic, rest 20%, 10 to 15% will have some cough, fever, diarrhea, and they will get better. Body ache, they will get better. That's the most people. Is the unlucky 10% who is going to have short of breath and is most likely going to get admitted. And among that 10%, 5% is dying in New York City. But why in the upstate the death rate is so low, we have no clue, no idea. Now, if somebody gets admitted in the hospital, what do we do? We have no clue. We have no knowledge about this disease before. We don't know which drug works and what to do. So basically, what we did initially, symptomatic treatment. That means you're having fever, we're giving Tylenol. You're having cough, we're giving cough syrup. See, you cannot breathe, we're giving oxygen. Still you cannot breathe, we're giving artificial respiration. And next, we came to know that some medicine might work based on the experience in other countries, like China, where this infection started in November. So they have more experience. And then it started in France and Italy. So Italy, France, and China, they did a lot of experiment. And based on that experiment, we collected the data, and we initially thought that hydroxychloroquine and Zithromax, two very popular drugs for this medicine, might work. And in my hospital at Elmhurst Hospital, we gave almost everybody initially to these two medications. What is the result? It's difficult to say. I have watched, 90% got better and went home. But without this medication that 90% would get better or not, I don't know. So what we could not do is that we discussed when the epidemic hits our hospital, we all the specialists sat together and some proposed that we should give this medicine to half patient and another half we should not give, so that we'll know that this medicine is doing anything or not. But how we can choose who will get and who will not get is a heartbreaking decision. We could not do it. So we decided we're going to give everybody. Forget about the study, forget about knowledge. Now we need to save the people. So in our hospital, we could not do it. That to keep we call placebo, not giving anything to see compared to those we are giving. We did not do this. We could not do it. We could not choose whom we are going to do this. So that's true for all other experimental medication. In our hospital, we did not do the discrimination. We tried everything. That's our decision. Good, wrong, we don't know. But there are some institutions, they did this. That means they have a control arm who did not get any medicine. And good thing is that we got some information from that experiment. The most important one that published last Friday in New England Journal of Medicine is published from Harvard Medical School, which considered one of the best in the world. And they did experiment on 23 patients, this hydroxychloroquine, and another 23 patients, they did not give anything. And they did not see any difference. Rather, they found that those who got the hydroxychloroquine, that group did worse, more death in that group. That scared us most. So the drug we are giving everybody, and that did not show. But there is a few problems with the experiment. One problem is only 23 patients. You cannot make any conclusion or judgment based on only 23 patients. That's number one problem. Number two problem, they gave all the patients this medicine when they're dying. So our thinking and belief is that this medicine works best when you give early. And theoretically, that might be possible. Why? Because this is not a bactericidal drug. That means it does not kill the virus. It prevents the virus dissemination in the body. If that's the case, then when already disseminated and patient intubated, patient cannot breathe, it should not work. So this drug has been shown effective in France, in Italy, and in China. That's why our President Donald Trump was so excited and he thought he got the cure and he's going to save all of us. But the problem is that this medicine also did not work, that report we got from France, China, Italy. So it's mixed. We have no clue what to believe, but my personal experience and personal belief and whatever I understood, that it most likely works in early stage. Why is that? Let me explain for 1 minute what this virus does. When we unluckily get this virus, it attaches with the hemoglobin. And because this virus attached with hemoglobin, the oxygen cannot attach with this hemoglobin, which carry the oxygen to the lung, and we get perfusion. That means we release the carbon dioxide and get the oxygen, and that carry to the tissue. That's the whole mechanism. And that mechanism fails because this virus attached with the hemoglobin. We did not know this until last week. We thought that it kills different way, like this virus caused a severe immune response, and because of that, the lung has a fluid we call cytokines, and that cause adult respiratory syndrome, and patient dies. So it's changed whole concept. And also we came to know last week that the microembolism, that means blood clot in the lung causing the lung failure. So whole new things we learned last week. So if this virus attached to the hemoglobin and causing the problem, then few things everybody knows, that zinc sulfate, vitamin C, and this hydroxychloroquine, we are thinking might help to prevent binding with the hemoglobin. But once it's bind with the hemoglobin and all over gone, it's too late. This medicine doesn't work. There is another good news is that this came again this weekend. Saturday came from Chicago that one of the medication called remdesivir. This medication was originally developed for Ebola virus. You remember a few years back, we were scared to death about Ebola. So this medicine was developed by Gilead Science for the Ebola virus. And we found now that this medicine is highly effective against this virus. How effective? The Chicago study claims 100% success rate, and not only success rate, the patient who are dying in the advance with intubation and with artificial respiration, those patients survived after giving this medicine, which makes sense because this virus directly kills the virus. So if any medicine directly kills the virus, then theoretically that could be a big thing to kill the viral load. And if there is no viral load, then patient is going to get better. Second important thing is that we found that the patient who is getting better, as I told you, most patient is getting better. Only unlucky 2 to 5% is dying. Those who are recovering, they have an antibody in the body. And this antibody, if we give to the patient, we did this before, like SARS, MERS infection, and it worked. Only disease it did not work is the Ebola virus. But every other disease, the patient who recovered, we take the plasma and give the other patient who's dying. And this is not a new technique. For 50 years, we are using this. So we are confused whether it's going to work or not, but it's working. The problem is that there is not enough supply of this antibody. Why? Because it takes 4 to 6 weeks to develop in the body. We are in the middle of 2 to 4 weeks. So we need another 2 to 4 weeks to get enough people developed antibody we can collect and we can save. So in short, I don't want to take too much time because I want that you guys ask questions and I'll try to answer. That's the best way to handle this, not what I like to say, rather what you like to know. That would be the best. So, but I want to quickly finish the treatment part. So this serum treatment is most likely going to be the future. So future is not bleak as we think. There is three things is going to happen. One thing, this remdesivir, if it works, is going to be widely used and that's going to save the life. Second thing, that in 2 weeks, this sera is going to be available antibody. We can give, we can save the life. And number three, the vaccine. Vaccine is a matter of time, but vaccine is a big talk. I just wanted to say one line that don't hope that vaccine will be ready in few months. It's going to be ready in 12 to 18 months. So we are talking about vaccine is going to be effective 2021 or 22, not before that. 2021 November earliest, but most likely by 2022. Why? Because a lot of things you need to do before you say, because to giving millions of people vaccine is not easy thing. You need to make sure it's safe to give. So that's, they already started. Right now, as we speak, 115 vaccine candidates, they already developed. But all is 2 to 3 years from now. So our hope is remdesivir and convalescent sera. That means the antibody developed in the body. So these two is going to be best way to treat. And I believe that we're going to see that very quickly in 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm not going to take any more time because I want to, you have many questions, I'm sure. So whatever question you have, if I can answer more questions, that's going to be better utilize my time. So I will stop here and I'll hand over mic to Imam Saab or Hussein Ahmed. I don't know who is moderating this. So I'm ready to take the questions. And thank you
Thank
all.
you.
And I wish everybody is safe and everybody will be healthy. And may Allah bless us.
Thank you, Dr. Ashraf, for your wonderful presentations. There are a few questions. Some of the questions, I believe that you answered our questions, especially on the hydroxychloroquine and the Z-Pack combo for the treatment. The next question that we have is about remdesivir. The question was, China has used remdesivir in Wuhan and got positive results in January 2020 in containing the spread and minimize the number of deaths. Why isn't yet CDC or FDA officially declares it to be used widely by doctors in treating COVID-19 patients?
Excellent questions. I like this question very well because we discussed this in our meeting, and that was exactly what was our question. So couple of answer, or you can say hypothesis we got, is that the experiment China did, they did not inform us that it works so good. We don't know why, because we have so many data, so many information about hydroxychloroquine, but remdesivir, which being used in China since November, we did not get much information. So few things we are thinking probably China did not provide the information because they wanted to stock this medicine as much as they can, other than because Gilead Sciences don't have enough medicine to give our patient right now. They have only limited supply. Every hospital they're giving 20 or 30 doses, which is nothing. Like in my hospital is more than 1,000 patients right now. And Gilead Sciences promised us they will give 20 doses. So that's the situation. So that's a very good question. And we need to know the answer. Why it was not reported. And if it was reported, we had time, 3-4 months, and we could make enough of this medicine to save our life. So that's a very good question, but we still have to know the answer.
Okay, so the second question is, do you think, you have mentioned that there is a high death rate in New York City compared to the rest of the world and the rest of the United States. The question is, do you think we can return to New York City if that is our workplace by the end of May 2020?
So I believe so, because I think that few things is going to happen. One thing is going to happen, you already know, most of you, that hospital rate was dramatically dropped, hospital admission rate. Say, giving an example, this weekend, Saturday, I was in the hospital. This is my only day off in 1 month. And in fact, I took day off because of this talk. So, and to rest a little bit. So this Saturday, this is only less than 10 admission, which is unheard of. And I have the New York City statistics is dropped like 2/3 hospital admission. So what we're going to see by the end of May, we're going to see that infection rate and both hospital admission rate and death rate, all is going to be baseline. Baseline means the minimum we had before April. Now the question is that, bigger question is that, what to do? If we open lockdown, what is going to happen? We don't know. We might have another surge. So we should do that, or we should think something else. I can give you 3 examples. If you look the 3 examples, one is Germany, one is Sweden, and one is England or Italy. So England and Italy is miserably failed. They did lockdown, open lockdown, and they failed and messed it up completely. Most successful is Germany. And if you see the Angela Merkel, recommended the very good way how to reopen the country, and they have a concrete plan how to do that. Those who have time, please go and read because it's too many things to discuss. In short, they have two things. One thing is that they want to start phase by phase so that no sudden rush of crowd. And second thing, they are also giving immunity certificate. What does it mean? That during the blood test, if antibody positive, that means we are assuming he or she will be immune and she can go. And also the young people who is unlikely to get sick and die, they are releasing them. So they are going very carefully, step by step. Whereas if we look at Sweden, just opposite. In Sweden, there's no lockdown. There is no social distancing except the recommended 6 foot distance. But they're all mall open, all school open, everything open in Sweden. They want to see that opening means more people is going to get immune by asymptomatic infection and they're going to be good. The point they're trying to make, we call herd immunity. That means if 80% get immune, then rest 20% will not get infection because this 80% cannot transmit, cannot carry the infection. So other 20% will not get infected. That's called herd immunity. That's true. Spanish influenza control that way. My guess, but Sweden most likely failing. The latest I know that the infection rate went up dramatically in Sweden. We have to see next week what happened to Sweden. But my personal guess, again, this is my guess, is that everything is going to be open in May for two reasons. One, I think so many people got infected in New York City, so we are going to reach the herd immunity. That's number one. Number two is that since New York City, so many people got infected, we're going to have effective antibody collection. Already, New York City Blood Bank is started. And from this week, they check for the antibody. We're going to have enough antibody. So see, if we open the business and open everything, if there is another peak, we can handle with the antibody. People will not die. We'll not let them to die like this time. So I think, and our president is so impatient. So if you're considering all these things, I think that we are going to open in May, and which may not be a bad thing because we are going to have more medicine. This remdesivir, if it is 100% effective, then we are going to have more use. So everything I think is going to be under control. If we can release in controlled manner, and whoever gets sick, if we can take care of them and save their life, then we can open it up. So I'm very hopeful that by May we're going to see that.
But there is, thank you, Dr. Ashraf. There is one more question here. Is related to that. Is it important to test all my employees before I allow them to get back to work? Do I have to require antibody test? If so, where can we get the antibody test?
Okay. Until now, and as of yesterday, I can talk. I did not go to the hospital today. As of yesterday, this antibody test available only for the healthcare worker. I did my test on a Friday, so it was available, for the healthcare worker for two reasons. One is that to see whether they're protected. Those who are protected, they can work without any problem. And second thing is that if we see a lot of antibody develop in healthcare professionals because who are exposed widely, then we might think that a lot of people have the antibody. That's number one. Number two thing is that it's not so easy to do so quickly because you need to check for all kind of disease because the blood product infusion is one of the riskiest things. So you have to make sure that that person don't have a lot of infection before we can collect that antibody. So it's a huge logistical problem. That's not going to happen in a day or two. But my guess is that in 2 weeks, it's going to be start widely, and New York Blood Bank will, I was told that New York Blood Bank is going to start doing from next week. So common public is going to be able to do next week. And this week, we healthcare professionals, they are getting this test.
Thank you. There is another question.
Can I ask you one question about the plasma?
Not now, brother. Hold on a second.
We have so many questions that our community has given us already, and we are requesting questions. And I would like to honor those questions first, brother, before we take any question here, as our time is very limited. Our next question is, my wife and I are COVID-19 survivor. How soon can we donate our plasma, and how often can we donate?
You can donate, every month or every 2 weeks, because they're not taking your blood cell, which carry the oxygen. So if you, like, difference between blood donation and this is that they're taking only plasma, which you can donate every week, and they're not taking a lot either. So all you need to drink a little fluid and it's going to be recovered, because they're not taking any cell. So any blood cell. So your hemoglobin is going to be fine, everything is going to be good. Question is that how soon logistically is going to be possible. My guess is that 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, they're going to do it, because they're pinning hope on this. Because if we can do, we have two advantages. One big advantage, those who have the antibody, they are immune, so they can go out, work, and do everything. They're not going to transmit any disease. And second thing is going to save the life who is getting sick. So it has big value. So all effort and resources are engaged for this. So my guess is that 2 weeks we're going to have in rapidly.
Okay. The next question is, how can I protect my family from catching illness if I know that I have coronavirus and I have symptoms? How can I prevent my family or protect my family from catching illness?
It is so difficult. You see that most of the family, if one infected, all of them getting infected. Why? Because this virus is so infectious and so difficult to prevent. But research shown in China and Italy, the most of the infection transmitted in the family in the toilet. Why? Because the concentration of the virus is 100 times more in the stool than in your hand or in your breath and in your body or your dress is the minimum, but in the stool is few hundred times concentrated. So toilet and all the handling in the bathroom, that's the major source, and it has been proven. It's the evidence based. It's not a guess that transmitting from one family to another family. So we are recommending, if it is possible, you should use different bathroom. That's the most important thing.
Thank you. That leads to the next question, which is pretty similar. How frequently should one clean and disinfect frequently touched objects and surfaces using a regular household cleaning spray or wipe?
So again, it is very difficult to do it, but we know there is evidence. It's published in New England Journal of Medicine 2 weeks ago that how long this virus stay in the fomite or on the surface. And the publication from Harvard University, they showed that maximum it can last 72 hours. But after 24 hours, it's probably not infectious anymore. So it's the first 24 hours. Initially, we thought only 5 hours. That's why New York subway system, initially in March, decided that every 5 hours, Metro North and subway system, they're going to clean. So, but when in England Journal of Medicine published that is 24 hours, then is a problem. Then washing 5 times is not going to help. So that's why they gave up. So then is how difficult. if something survives 72 hours. Only thing we suggest, the best killer of this virus is the sunlight. Why? Sunlight has the ultraviolet ray, and that kills within an hour. All you can do in the dryer, if you put your dress in there, it's going to kill. But again, on your body, on your every place of this virus, it's extremely difficult to prevent this transmitting to your family member. And I have seen, trust me, my patient, 5 or 6 patients I lost in my private practice, and hundreds of patients I lost in my hospital. And I have seen all this story from the family members. And one thing I really did not like is to go extreme, like husband also in sick, and the wife keep him so far away, even stop feeding. Believe me or not, I had to intervene in few cases that the sick person, husband or wife, either way, is not getting any kind of. And one Bengali died in his room, injection height, did not get any care. Nobody even fed him for 3 days. And the same, he had the roommate and he had the other people, they fled the room. They did not even come back to stay. So these are the extreme. We should avoid this because there's no way you can avoid this. So I know it's very difficult time for all of us, but after all, we are human and we should handle this with dignity and with respect.
Next question is it okay to take a plasma even though I'm not affected by coronavirus?
Take plasma?
Yeah, to build the antibody. That's the question.
Oh, no. That's definitely not recommended. This time I can tell for sure. Before I was not for sure for anything, but this is for sure it's not good. Why? Because it's going to last only for a month or 2 weeks in your body. Remember, you're not producing, you're getting somebody's production. So it's going to last only 2 weeks to 3 weeks. And you are taking enormous risk to get any other bad infection. So why you will do this if you have no infection? It's no brainer. You should not.
Okay, thank you. The next question is hot soap water better than expensive alcohol-based wipes for coronavirus?
Yes, soap is an alkali. It kills completely, as good as Lysol, as good as other thing. But why the Lysol hand, spray so popular? Because it's convenient and easy to simple. Both works. And I have seen my patient, they put so much Lysol that now in fact, it's true. I'm not, joking. It's true that they have corrosive infection on the both hand, just washing every hour with Lysol and this and that. That's another example of extremeness. It's not going to do anything.
The one more question that we have, as a matter of fact, two more questions. One more question was, how do we know at home that someone is infected by coronavirus or having the symptoms? As the symptoms vary, how do we know for sure, and when do we contact our physician?
See, that most people get cough, sore throat, and fever. To me, the two most important and common symptoms is fever and diarrhea. Those two should alert you, and you should be very concerned that something can happen bad. And when you will have short of breath, that means breathing problem, that is you are in critical condition or you are in trouble. So you must go to the hospital or make sure that somebody will take you in the hospital or take care of you if anything goes wrong. I have one patient who bought the oxygen cylinder and nebulizer, everything, and he did not wanted to go to the hospital. And he did well. I begged him to go to the hospital because he could not breathe, he could not walk. And how I know, because I did the video visit. I saw on the camera, even as of yesterday. And yesterday he is getting better. So it's possible, because in the hospital, we did not do much other than oxygen. Remember one thing, 90% sick patient got better with only oxygen. So I think that not necessarily you have to go to the hospital, but you have to make sure there is somebody who can take care of you if any problem. Certainly, you should not stay alone at home.
Thank you. The next question, this is the last two questions. The next question is, what particular food or drinks would you recommend to boost our immunity system from COVID-19?
That's a very good question. I like this question because so many people ask me these questions. So this is a really good one. So the thinking is that this virus attack those who don't have good immunity. So what gives the good immunity? Good food, vitamins, and fruits. Fruits have lots of vitamins, and especially it's known that vitamin C helps a lot and prevent viral infection. So vitamin C, and for this particular virus, the zinc sulfate. Why zinc sulfate? Because this zinc sulfate attaches to the receptor that bind with the virus. So if you have a deficiency in zinc sulfate and vitamin D, it has been shown they are getting more infection. So nothing wrong. There is no downside to take the vitamin D and the vitamin C and some, the what it called zinc sulfate, because that has been shown in many countries and many places that prevent this virus to bind. So these three things plus fruits. The problem is that I cannot tell that for everybody because some of them might have diabetes. And so you have to be very cautious to take the lots of fruits. For diabetic patients, I recommend them to take the tablet instead of food. Take the vitamin C tablet, zinc sulfate, and some vitamin D. And also you can take fruits like blueberries. Blueberries, a small blueberry has 16 vitamins, and blackberries and all these things. So obviously fruits.
Thank you, Dr. Ashraf. The last question for tonight presentation is from one of our community members in Levittown, New York. I have been inside my home for more than 45 days, and I'm afraid to even go to my backyard. I heard that the virus is airborne. What is your suggestion?
So I think that you are over anxious. See, the backyard has no virus unless any of your family member is infected or asymptomatic carrying the virus. In that case, not backyard, your living room is also, the risky. So backyard, definitely. I recommend everybody to go to the backyard unless your next neighbor having a party in the backyard. I think it's completely safe. You should go backyard, you should do exercise, and mostly you should go to the sunlight. I encourage everybody to go to the sunlight 15-20 minutes. Is going to, whatever virus you have on your skin, on your dress, on your body, is going to kill it. Second thing is that you're going to breathe fresh air. Third thing is that sunlight stimulates hormones, and that brings a positive effect on the body. That's why you see that we don't get depressed during the month of summer. A lot of people get depressed in the winter month because of lack of sunlight. And also the sunlight is going to produce vitamin D, which is also helping this virus. So yes, everybody should do exercise daily, and everybody should go to the backyard to get the sunlight. With one exception, those who just recover or about to recover, they should not do the heavy exercise because your lung is weak, your heart is weak, and what I said, myocarditis can cause the heart attack. So you should be careful. You should not do, if you're recovering, you should not do heavy exercise. only 15, 20 minutes just walking. But rest of us, those who are asymptomatic, should do good exercise, 20 to 30 minutes every day, and preferably in the backyard in the sun.
Thank you, Dr. Ashraf, for sharing your experience and valuable suggestions for us. We wanted to thank you on behalf of the community for your valuable time for us. May Allah reward you immensely for your service. We're going to finish this presentation by dua from Imam Ahmadullah Kamal, and our brother secretary will also remind you about the programs that are coming. May Allah bless all. Thank you, Dr. Ashraf, once again.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you, Dr. Ashraf. Imam Shah, please go ahead.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Ashraf, Jazakallah khair for your time and your presentation. Alhamdulillah, we got a lot of benefit from your presentation. Jazakumullah khair. Before dua, I want to mention some names. Muhammad Hussein Turon from Louisville, Kentucky. He's very sick. Please make dua for him. Dr. Kaisar Rashid, Dr. Ziaur Rahman, and also Brother Ajaz. He's our regular Musalli. He's also very sick. And Brother AKM Fazlul Haq, very sick. Aden, he's from Tennessee. He's very sick. Please make dua for them. And also our sister Dolly Sajidin, our regular life member, and she is very active in our masjid. She's very sick. Please make dua for her. May Allah give her shifa ajala. And three brothers, today they already passed away. Make dua for them. Brother Mujibur Rahman Chowdhury, who is younger brother of late pharmacist Mushfiqur Rahman, and he gave a lot of people to NYPD the job, and he was very active in our Bangladeshi community. Make dua for him. May Allah give him Jannatul Firdaus. Also Muhammad Ali Chain, today he passed away. Ibad Hussain, he's also today's evening, he passed away. Please make dua for them. May Allah give them Jannatul Firdaus. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina. Another brother name, I forgot to mention. His name is Brother Munir Ahmed. He's the brother Khabir Ahmed and Falah Ahmed, their younger brother. He's hospitalized. Please make dua for him. May Allah give him shifa ajala. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم احفظنا من كل بلاء الدنيا وعذاب الآخرة اللهم احفظنا من كل بلاء الدنيا وعذاب الآخرة اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا واسعا وشفاء من كل داء وشفاء من كل داء أسأل الله العظيم رب العرش العظيم أن يشفيهم 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 اللهم اغفر لحينا وميتنا وشاهدنا وغائبنا وصغيرنا وكبيرنا وذكرنا وأنثانا اللهم من أحييته منا فأحيي على الإسلام ومن توفيته منا فتوفه على الإيمان يا رب العالمين. Forgive our all shortcomings. Ya Rabbal Alameen, Ya Ghaffar, Ya Tawwab, Ya Ghafur, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Ya Rabbal Alameen, we have a lot of shortcomings. Ya Rabbal Alameen, you are the forgiver. Please forgive our all kind of sins. Ya Rabbal Alameen, those brothers' name and sister name we mentioned, Ya Rabbal Alameen, give them shifa ajala. Ya Allah, give them quick recovery. Ya Rabbal Alameen, those brothers and sisters they left from our community, Ya Allah, give them Jannatul Firdaus. Allah, forgive their all kind of sins. Ya Rabbal Alameen, those brothers, those doctors, those nurses, and volunteers, they are working day and night for us. Wallah, give them good health. Wallah, save them from all kind of calamities and problems. Ya Rabbal Alameen, save us from this deadly virus. Save our family, save our children, save our friends, save our colleagues, save our neighbors, save our country. Ya Allah, save our world. Ya Rabbal Alameen, you are the saver. Allahumma hafazna min kulli bala'i dunya wa adabil akhirah. Wallah, whatever we learn, Wallah, give us ilm nafi'a. Wallah, give us halalan tayyiba. Wallah, save us and secure us from problems and calamities. Ya Rabbal Alameen, give our parents hayatan tayyiba. Allahumma rabbir hamhuma kama rabbayani saghira. Allah, give us ability, we can get month of Ramadan, and month of Ramadan's haq we can fulfill. Ya Rabbal Alameen, accept our dua. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wa salamun ala al-mursaleen, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Brothers and sisters, quick reminder about tomorrow night. Tomorrow we have another special program called Mindfulness and Spirituality. Mindfulness and Spirituality, Coping with Anxiety During Times of Uncertainty, presented by Dr. Sadia Chowdhury. She's a clinical psychologist. Tomorrow night, 9:15. At the same time, you don't need any ID or it's the same ID, same password. So we'll see you tomorrow at 9:15. Don't forget tomorrow morning, we have our morning prayer at 5:45 a.m. Morning prayer starts at 5:45 a.m. We'll see you all tomorrow morning. May Allah bless you and grant you a safe and happy night.